Did you guys know about the Creature Crate Patreon? Every month you'll get amazing files that you can make, like this Donkey Kong, this dragon, this robot tech scarab, this Cerberus, or this super cool set of Bulbasaurs. You can also sell the prints from these files as an authorized seller. Join the Creature Crate Patreon now. Link is in the description below. Hey guys, what's up? Nico again here. In this 3D Printed Profits episode, I have with us James. James, where are you coming from, man?
Houston, Texas.
Houston, Texas. Woo! Texas boys. All right. So James is just going to talk to us about his 3D printing business, how he got started, so on and so forth. But before we start, just a couple of things. Make sure you guys join us in the 3D Printing Side Hustle group. The link for that is in the description below. And make sure you guys stay till the very, very end for today's tip on when you start your own 3D printing side business. I can talk, I promise. Anyway, so without further ado, let's get started. James, welcome to the show.
Hi, how's it going? I'm James.
So, James, let's get started with your background here, man. What is it that you did before your business?
I took a vacation from building race cars. I joined the Army. I got out, went right back to manufacturing and building race cars. And there's a lot of problems with the industry that needed addressing. And I found a solution. And 3D printing was the answer.
There you go. Sweet, man. And how did you get into 3D printing? You were just like, I have this idea and I'm going to make it. And the solution for that is 3D printing. Is that just how it went?
No, so was a professional fabricator for race cars, McLaren, Lamborghini, Ferraris, twin turbo kits. I started out with little Honda Civics when I was a punk teenager, and I grew up and evolved from there. The hardest part of the industry is not the welding. That's easy. The hardest part is all your custom cutting and fitting. So when you got all these custom cuts and fits, you need special tools that don't exist. Now, I learned CAD work and design work, but I had no way of taking the CAD work and design work and producing a tool for the longest time until I noticed 3D printing. The 3D printing allowed me to manipulate a part in space in SolidWorks to create a certain cut, and then I would be able to produce a fixture to make that one cut. So what I would have to do it take 1 or 2 hours by hand, I could now do in 5 minutes with a basic bandsaw with zero skill after a part was already printed. So it gave me a huge leap into the automotive industry for custom tooling applications.
That's pretty badass, man. And how did you come up with that idea? You're like, there's this problem and I'm going to solve it, damn it.
Necessity. So I was getting overwhelmed with exotic car exhaust, McLaren 720 exhaust, titanium exhaust, and getting 10 orders a month or something like that. And there's a huge shortage of labor right now. Nobody has skill. The people that have skill, they already have jobs or they come at too high of a price tag. I got married and all I had access to for help was a 12-year-old and a 15-year-old. And they obviously have no skill. So I had to figure out how to put nearly 20 years of experience and skill into the hand of somebody who only knows how to turn a saw on and press a button. So it came as a necessity. I needed a way to manufacture the parts quicker to keep up. So I would design a tool that I could hand off to a 10-year-old or a 12-year-old in this case, or whatever it was. And he could put a piece of pipe in there, put it in the saw and press the button. He didn't have to measure anything at all. It would make the identical cut, flawless, perfect, precision every single time. So I literally, instead of having to hire someone that would have came at $50 an hour, I got someone who worked for free.
Atta boy.
That lived in the same house.
Atta boy. Cool, man. So how much are you making in this business?
We're not even up for a full year yet. We're already over 120 this year. So we're making a pretty good amount.
Damn. That's pretty dang good, man. So how did you guys get your first clients and your first customers for this?
I just took pictures. I just took pictures and put it online. And everyone was like, wow, that is awesome. I need that.
That's basically how it really goes, man. You just, hey, look what I made. And if people like it, they're gonna buy it, right?
Exactly.
That's freaking sweet, man. So after you got your first clients and your first customers, what happened next? Did it just poof, skyrocket
It,
and take off, or
well, nothing ever, when you're an entrepreneur, nothing ever happens unless you make it happen, you know?
correct?
So you have to continuously, especially at the beginning. First, everyone was like, oh, it's a piece of plastic. It's a piece of crap. In the manufacturing world, plastic equals crap 99% of the time. Everyone wants metal. The metal tooling available out there right now starts at $500 a fixture. My alternate form of that at the current price tag right now starts at $50 a fixture. So I was able to knock a complete zero off of that. And by doing that, all of a sudden, I just opened the doors to every kid in the world who's watched Fast and the Furious and wants a race car and has a garage. So he no longer has to pay thousands of dollars to get in. He can now pay a couple $100 and be building professional level products on day one.
And you're the only person that you know of that is doing this.
Oh no, everyone's trying to copy me now. A lot of people are trying to copy me now and get a piece of this. I just made sure that I hit it so hard and so fast when I saw the opportunity in it that I was going to outmuscle everybody. I come from a military background. You got to maintain your stronghold.
I agree. I agree. So what does your print farm look like now? From the screen, I see at least 4 Pruses, and when the pre-interview talk, I saw 6 in Erase 3D. What's your print farm looking like right now?
Uh, you don't want me to show you with the camera, do you?
No, just tell me
Okay.
what's in
I
there.
was gonna say it might lag a little, but so right now we just got our first BCN. It's the Epsilon W27. I bought that so I could actually make intake manifolds, race like actual intake manifolds to go on McLaren race cars, in use products on real race cars. I have the Race 3D, which I bought first. Everyone told me I was crazy for spending near $7,000 on my first machine. Go buy a Creality. I come from the professional industry where, it's you don't want a mental limitation. I felt like if I had got a Creality and I was playing with a Tinker toy on day one, I would have had a mental limitation as to what 3D printing is capable of. So I wanted to make sure I went in with a professional level machine day one, even if it took me all year to pay it off with a credit card. I didn't care. I wanted to know 100% that it is capable of doing what I think it can do. And then from there, I bought the Pruses because I couldn't afford to buy a bunch of Race 3D machines. They're $6,500 each. So I bought a bunch of Pruses because 6 heads is better than 1 printing. We went from there. And, it's growing, and I'm already going to be going to Gigabot here in Houston next week to go talk to them about one of their big boy machines. So
That's awesome, man. So, and what filament are you using?
for the most part, tooling doesn't need to be anything fancy. And there are several different ways you can look at how to build a product, and you can make a product that's indestructible, but you don't need to. Your pair of calipers doesn't also need to be a hammer. Calipers can just be calipers. It can be a precision product. So you can use a cheap PLA plastic and do amazing things with it. I make press tooling that'll handle 10 tons of pressure and form aluminum all day long, even stainless all day long with cheap PLA plastic. So a $20 roll of plastic, I can turn into a $500 tool, easily. And then that customer can have tremendous amount of return on investment for him because he didn't have to wait 4 months at a machine shop and pay $4,000, So for the most part, everything's just PLA. But some parts, it's a functional part, especially like intake manifolds going on McLaren that I'm working on. Those are going to be printed in PA12 carbon fiber from 3D Tech. So I've got that. I've got high temp nylon and all sorts of other stuff. It just depends on the job and the application. When you're in engineering, you need to make sure it can handle more than what it's going to be subjected to. And right now, there are some limitations to the technology, but it is there to be able to handle the limitations also. you can't quite hit your double. If you need to hold 40 psi pressure, you might not be able to hit 80 psi pressure, which is what you would typically do as an engineer. But I can get 50 or 60 psi pressure out of it, and then I can use an alternate form of increasing the strength by sending it to an actual carbon fiber shop where they'll reinforce it with carbon fiber skinning, which will molecularly bond to it and make it effectively 100% carbon fiber part. And your print at that point just becomes a honeycomb matrix that is a sacrificial mold in this case. You literally throw the carbon on it and you ship out a finished carbon fiber product that, even though it was printed in, maybe a PA12 with carbon fiber, or Ferrari wings I've done out of ABS carbon fiber, so on and so forth, you get the best of both worlds. You can eliminate all the tooling for developing molds and all the cost of developing mold. I can rapidly change it. I can put the customer's name in the product, whatever you want. You can give it all sorts of cool stuff that is impossible to do through any other realistic manufacturing means, and just send it out as a finished product that can handle all the abuse.
Gotcha, man. So you are just making the tools, right? But if you're making intake manifolds, is that like heat sensitive? Because you're obviously not printing it in PLA, right? You're printing it in the carbon fiber, you're taking it to the shop, and then the pressure is there, the heat resistance is there, and that's how you solve that issue, correct?
Correct. Well, if you look at it, your factory intake manifolds for about the last 10 years have been all made of plastic anyways. Now, they started with the nylon 6 glass infused, and Volkswagen was one of the first people to go over to it. And Volkswagen quite well, that their Lamborghini, their Bentley, their Porsche, a lot of their stuff is all turbocharged, and everyone's like, well, that's hot, it's going to melt. Well, if you look at your heat deflection temperature of your plastics like that, most of them are a PA12 carbon fiber from 3DX Tech is like 138 degrees Celsius. Well, the factory plastic that Volkswagen had been using for like last 10 years had a heat deflection temperature of 125, and it's glass
so it's a lot better actually.
left. So this is even better. And remember, that's Celsius. But when you're reading your water temperature of your motor, you're reading that in Fahrenheit.
Right, which is a lot higher.
210 degrees is a hot motor. If you're pushing 300 degrees Fahrenheit, your car's on fire. You're not worried about what your intake manifold looks like. You're running the heck out of there. There's other issues at hand. You've already lost a lot more than an intake manifold.
Right.
So the plastics can more than handle it with current level technologies without even having to invest that hugely into it right now.
Dude, that's awesome. And so you're making these large parts, right? You're saying like Ferrari, like an actual Ferrari wings, and you're printing them on Prusa's. Are you printing them in small pieces and then putting them all together?
Well, the Ferrari wings, ABS carbon fiber from 3DX Tech that I run, or actually I like to use the ASA because it can still be vapor smooth and it prints a little bit easier than the ABS. It's a little bit less temperamental. I run that on my raised because you're talking about a wing that might be 5 foot wide or something like that for a Ferrari FF.
Right, but you're printing them in pieces and putting them together, right?
Correct. I'll print it in pieces, and then I'll basically make like a dowel that it also gets printed in the ABS, which I'll just hurry up and put a little bit of acetone on both sides of it, a little bit of acetone on the mating surfaces, slam it together. That sucker welds itself permanently together. It becomes one solid piece, as if you had printed it one solid piece. And then you can final step it out if you want to. If you wanted to put the direct printed part on the car rather than hand laying carbon up on it, you can vapor smooth the whole part and it comes out beautiful, smooth, looks like it's injection molded, but it's got the carbon fiber little speckles and texture in it. It's beautiful. It's awesome.
And are you in charge of installing these parts on the cars as well, or are you just hey,
I do everything I can not to touch a car anymore. I just sit around and nerd now.
Atta boy. All right, man.
My years of hard work are done.
Yes. See, I agree. And what profit margin are you targeting with these car parts?
Well, example, Uh, I can't speak of what my customer that I'm under contract for, which is XPRD Tech in California, for the McLaren intake manifold. Y'all can look him up. Y'all can check him out on Instagram. It's some beautiful stuff we got going on over there. I can't talk of what he's going to be doing his prices for and what prices I'm doing to him.
Sure.
But my own products that I will be releasing, intake manifolds for the GM market, LSX, the Hemis, the Hellcats, all that stuff. A billet intake aluminum manifold right now is along the lines of $5,000. Now, I am looking at approximately a $1,500 material cost to print the intake manifolds. And like I said, a polypropylene or a nylon carbon fiber, something that'll be able to handle the heat and temperature. But I have 0 human hours in it. Now, you're looking at about 300 print hours for a whole part. That's a lot, but you got 0 human hours. And most of your parts are about 3 to 4 days each, and it might be 3 or 4 parts to produce the product. I'm looking personally to sell at a retail rate that intake manifold at about $3,500. So I'm going to undercut the aluminum billet market by about $1,500. And because we don't run into a manufacturing or logistical bottleneck, like everyone else in the world is right now, we can just ship parts. And when we get too many sales, we get more machines and hit the button.
Atta
And
boy.
I go sit in Mexico sipping my Mai Tai while my machines are working.
See, I love that, man. Let the robots do the work, right?
Exactly. That's what I wanted since I was a little kid. Somehow I got stuck working.
Look at you. Look at you. Dude, that's awesome, man. So you have your own website, right? That's where they can purchase your product?
Yes, sir. It's rapid3d.us.
Awesome, man. So dude, that's really it for me, man. Let's wrap this up with your number one tip for anyone who wants to start their own 3D printing business.
Don't sell Baby Yoda. Don't do what everyone else is doing. It's retarded. It is too easy to make money. This world is spoiled and wants custom. Be custom. Take 5 minutes to learn Fusion 360. Hop online, get a SolidWorks maker license for $100 a year. Develop your own parts. Don't be ripping other people off. You don't got to copycat. It is too easy to make money in this new world. I got to look around the house and tell you a million ways you can make $1. You could just simply start with a wall outlet, a simple wall outlet, and put balloons on it and a little boy's name and sell it in the color blue. And everybody in the world with their new baby boy is going to buy it to decorate his room. And if you're talking about a piece of PLA that's costing you 50 cents, and if you look at what a normal wall outlet costs at Home Depot that is in 3 ugly colors, that's it. It's like $15 for those wall outlet covers.
Yeah, like 15, 20 bucks for one. And the decorated ones are like 25 bucks.
Yeah, you could be taking 50 cents and you could price it $5 less than that. And you could be making bank. Like I was going to do it myself, but I'm too darn busy doing what I'm doing. So
I agree.
Here I am. I'll give y'all guys a free tip. Make wall outlets, anything, but you've got to be personalizable. If you're not personalizable, if you're just selling what everyone else is, you're just like everyone else.
There you go. All right, you guys, you heard it from the man himself, James. And so I told you guys, if you stay till the very, very end, you already got a product idea with wall outlets with James. You're going to get another one because you guys are spoiled and I love you guys. So today's product idea, actually today's tip is going to be start your business with a marketing plan. All right. Everyone always starts with product. But if you start with a marketing plan, you will get your product because you know who you're selling to. If you don't know who you're selling to, then what's your product for, right?
Right.
James started with a bunch of people where anyone who just had a baby boy, they're gonna buy that wall outlet. He started with people who just had a baby boy, and then he found a product that he's gonna sell to them. He didn't start with wall outlet. He started with pregnant women who just had a baby boy, right?
Exactly.
Now, I know he said wall outlets first. What's that?
Find a way to sell to emotion. People do stupid things for their emotions.
Bro, that's no joke. So I know James said wall outlet first, but I promise you, what went in his head first, he just didn't say it, was, hey, what group of people can I serve and sell something to? I promise you that's what went in his head because that's what went in my head. That's how I start products. All right. So
that's why I started my tooling business. Is I already knew I knew the entire market. I had already been in it for 20 years. So I knew exactly what everybody needed and I just produced it. And here it was.
There you go. And James is making good money, you guys. All right, that's it for me. James, thank you for so much for being on the show, man. I really, really appreciate it. Great work. Congratulations. This is solid. Some solid numbers, bro. Solid.
Thank you,
So
man. I appreciate the opportunity.
thank you for being here, man. I'll catch up with you in the future and see how you're doing.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Later, man.
Take care.